Oh, wait.
Here it goes.
Raleigh, we're back.
We're back. Okay. We're going to pick up at 22B. 22B. And if you didn't understand 22A, well, no one else did either, so don't worry about it. All right.
Watch this. Look. I'm the Raleigh.
Oh, okay. This works. Okay, so I'm now speaking to Brian because he's not here. Okay. B, using a correctly labeled graph of the loanable funds market. So let's get that going. And let's see, it's the, I'm just going to put R for rate because I'm being lazy and I've got it kind of cramped up here. So R for interest rate, and over here, what is it? Quantity of what? No. Quantity of money goes on your money market graph. This one is quantity of
Demand.
quantity of loanable funds. Loanable funds. Okay. And then we have a more familiar demand and supply curve here. We'll put that as our equilibrium. Here's our quantity. Here's our rate. Now what does it want me to do with it? It says show the impact of this decision by investors on the real interest rate in Terra. So they have taken their money, they've invested it in some other country, and so what has happened? Am I going to see an impact on demand or supply?
Supply, right?
On supply, good. And which way is supply going to go? It's going to go to the left.
Very sad boy. I was right now, Brian.
Just now.
It's going to go to the left because they're pulling the supply out. Supply goes down. Now focus on what the question is really asking. It's asking what happens to that interest rate. Show the impact of this decision by investors on the real interest rate in Terra. So it's super important when they're talking about, hey, show the effect on the quantity of loanable funds. Show the effect on the interest rate. Show the effect on the price level. When they give you a specific, make sure that your model has these things specifically written out here so that you've got, hey, this is my new interest rate, R2. Highlight that. Make sure that your grader can see that you're answering their question, that you're focusing on telling them that the impact is an increased interest rate. All right, where are we now? C. And I'm falling off the paper, so hold up. Given your answer in part B, what will happen to Terra's rate of economic growth? All right.
Raleigh has an answer.
Raleigh, do you have the answer?
I think I do. I know Raleigh's saying that it will decrease growth.
You think it'll decrease growth?
Indeed, in Terra.
I wonder if Brian agrees.
Brian disagrees.
Wait, what does Tarn think? You think it'll increase the growth of Terra?
Brian agrees with that one.
I think people will start investing more.
I agree with
because of the interest rates. Just go up.
Let's get back to it.
We would have to.
So it'd have to be that essential.
Well, hold on. Let's pay really close attention to what they're asking. Given your answer in part B, what was our answer in part B?
The interest rate goes up.
The interest rate goes up.
Right,
So what's that going to do?
Slow growth.
It will slow growth. A higher interest rate discourages, hey, let me go back to this one here.
I know Raleigh.
Increased interest rates discourage investment spending and thus shift aggregate demand left, reducing demand and GDP. So we know an increased interest rate is going to discourage investment in physical capital. They're not going to be building as many new factories. They're not, those types of things are going to slow because the interest rate is high. So we would see, let's see, I want to double check. What will happen to Tara's rate of economic growth? Tara's economic, I'll teach this for a living. Okay, Tara's economic growth will slow as the increased interest rate will discourage investment into productive physical capital.
I neurology, of course, understand.
Okay, so I've answered directly that economic growth will slow, and it's asked me to explain, and I've explained that that interest rate is going to discourage investment into productive physical capital. And if we're not pumping out productive physical capital, we're not growing. How do we now feel about this question?
A little bit better.
A little bit better?
Yeah.
I know the part A was a little bit beyond us. I do want to tell you guys that these are actual FRQs from released exams. The first one, I believe was from 2009 released exam, and they haven't done any changes to the exam, like any fundamental changes. Everything's going to be structured very similarly. So if you're looking at these, you're going, okay, I can do this. This is good sign. This is good sign. Do we have time for the last one? I think so. Actually, this works out great because I'm talking to Nerali, but we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4 other people too. So 5.
You mean
5.
neurology am here.
Shut up, Brian. All right, here we go. And last one is C, or 23. All right. Assume that the reserve requirement is 20%. I'm going to just write this over here so I can remember that. That's my reserve requirement. Cool. And banks hold no excess reserves, so they're using it all up. They've got it all loaned out. So whatever they give me next, I know I'm going with a nice fresh calculation. Assume, so for A, cue my answers. Assume that Kim deposits $100 of cash from her pocket into her checking account. Now calculate each of the following. So I've got AI, here we go. The maximum dollar amount the commercial bank can initially lend. So she's deposited $100. It's $100. And they are required to keep 20%.
So they have to hold $20.
minus 20%. And that's going to give us $80, man.
Fundamentals, you are wrong.
Okay, they can lend out up to $80 of that 100 because only 20% must be held in reserves. Let's go to II. The maximum total change in demand deposits in the banking system. So we're going to need a multiplier here. So let's do the math real quick. It's 1 divided by RR, so 1 divided by 20 is...
You're not wrong.
Wait, is it 1 over 20 or 1 over 0?
Well, I'm actually doing it like that. I'm thinking of it like $1.
Oh.
That's how I'm doing it in my head.
Alright.
Yeah, no, you are right.
Oh.
It's 5, thank you.
Fundamental.
All right, so our multiplier is 5. So what's 100 times 5?
500 goes.
250.
Thank you, Zach. You might want to watch this again. All right, so since our multiplier is 5, I've got to do $100 times 5 equals,
500.
thank
Ron
you.
says 500.
Good job, Nirali. Okay. All right, so
The subtract the reserve part.
not in this one. I want you to pay attention to the wording here. The maximum total change in demand deposits in the banking system. This isn't the change in the money supply.
Oh.
It's the demand deposits that could be created. So we have to include Kim's initial deposit. So my answer to AII is that, that I have to use that multiplier times her initial deposit, and I get 500. Now, last one here of these I's. What's the maximum change in the money supply? And this one we don't want to count hers because that was already part of the money supply. Her $100 was already part. So it becomes what, 80 times?
Yeah, 80 times 5.
What's that?
400.
400.
Big rooms.
All right, so there's my answer.
Wow.
Easy peasy. Well, but I got a part B and a part C. We're almost done. Part B. Assume, here we go back to the Federal Reserve. Assume the Federal Reserve buys 5 million. They're not selling, they're buying this time. They buy 5 million in government bonds on the open market. As a result of the open market purchase, calculate the maximum increase in the money supply in the banking system. We have already determined our multiplier.
5.
Our multiplier is 5. It didn't change from where we started at the beginning of this question. It's been 5 the whole time. It hasn't changed. So since we've got that, that's going to help us out. 5 million. Now, are they injecting 5 million into the economy by buying T-bills, or are they pulling 5 million out?
Injecting because they're buying, right?
Yep, they're buying those T-bills, so they're replacing those T-bills with cash. 5 million of it, to be exact. So I'm just going to go 5 million times our money multiplier, which is 5, gives us
25 million.
25 million. Given the increase in the money supply in Part B, a $25 million increase.
Misters.
What?
Hold on. It says in the money supply, so don't we have to take account in their reserves as well?
No, this is full-on money supply. The federal, we don't take those out.
What? But you just said we don't take it out for deposits, whatever it's called.
Demand deposits?
Deposits, yes.
But her $100 is still a demand deposit.
It's the right side.
Loss. Beyond.
Well, I knew you were lost before this started, so don't worry about that. Nothing's changed. Given the increase in the money supply in Part B, what happens to real wages in the short run? Now remind me, what are real wages?
Wages adjusted for inflation.
Right. All right. What's going to happen to your real wages? Because a nominal wage is just how much you're making, but real wages you have to think of as relative to the inflation rate. So have they caused inflation or caused something else to happen?
Inflation.
They have. They've caused inflation. But remember, wages are sticky. In the short run, wages aren't going to be pushed up by inflation. The people that are making that $10 an hour, they're still going to make $10 an hour despite the fact that there's inflation. So their nominal wage is the same. It's still $10. But their real wage has actually gone down because their buying power is less. So, ow, hit the funny button. Oh, it's never funny. Why?
hilarious.
I feel that.
So what happens to real wages since wages are sticky in the short run? The nominal wage will stay the same, but real wages will fall as the value of the dollar falls. And I'm going to add, just I want to make sure my grader really knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to put right in there that wages do not keep up with inflation in the short run. Bam. I just got 100% on my FRQ.
Cheating.
I actually didn't look up the answer key. I just did it. So
Also cheating.
Wait.
this is my answer key. I made it before you guys came in, so that like I ran through it real fast. Took me 10
Can
minutes.
that be my answer?
Straight up cheating.
Academic dishonesty.
Maybe the
Yeah.
answer to the test, the question will be different.
Do you guys feel any better? I know like you guys are probably stressing about my stupid FRQ coming on Monday. You don't feel better.
Wait, do I?
Let me cancel this now.
Bye, Neroli.
Everybody say bye-bye.
Bye, Neroli.
Oh my. Oh my.
Stop